Hello and welcome to Burr Thoughts 101, and today I'm going to give you my review and Burr thoughts on Telltale's Batman. Now during this video there will be spoilers, so be warned if you've not played it yet. Go and play it, beat up some bad guys, go be the best darn detective you can be, and unravel the beginnings of a few mysteries, and then pop back here and enjoy the video. I'm going to be doing the whole season of Batman, so every couple of months look out for the next instalments and let's fight crime on the streets of Gotham together. So I have a few years of Telltale under my belt since Walking Dead, and I've pretty much played everything they've made so far, and I have loved 95% of it. Luckily, they've done franchises I love like Walking Dead and Game of Thrones, and they've done it so well that through trust alone, I know they'll get the job done right. So I've tried franchises that I haven't touched before, like Borderlands and Wolf Among Us, and I really enjoyed them. And franchises that I really dislike, like Minecraft. And you know what? I fucking love Telltale's Minecraft, I'm not gonna lie. The ending to the first season of Minecraft, when there's that one scene right at the end, you know what I'm talking about if you've played it. I cried my eyes out. I am not ashamed. I get so into games and films that I'm so invested in something when something major happens on that level. That, again, if you played, you'll know what I'm talking about. I didn't just cry, I bawled my eyes out. The kind of crying where the noises you're making, they're not even human anymore. They're just congealed, other dimensional orchestras of wheeze and constant sniffs because my face has melted into sadness, especially if it's an animal. True signs of a game company doing its job properly if they can make you feel, if they can make you invested in characters and story to the point where you get angry, or you're crying, or you're laughing, you know that you're onto a winner and they have done their job properly. So now it's Batman's turn to take up the spotlight, and I'll admit, when I found out they were taking on the Dark Knight, I wasn't really excited. I'd rather have another Walking Dead Season 3, which luckily they are doing, and it's coming out later this year, hopefully sooner rather than later, or people are desperate for a Wolf Among Us Season 2, which is definitely my top 2 Telltale franchises that they've took on. It was incredible. I'd never heard of anything like Wolf Among Us before. I took it under my wing, I played it, and I thought it was great. But I love Batman, from the cartoons to most of the films, but to me the only Batman is Kevin Conroy. Him and Mark Hamill go hand in hand as the core elements of the universe of Batman. So naturally, when you find out that they're not voiced within it, it's a real shame. Not that I won't give it the benefit of the doubt, but you're already off to a bad start when those guys aren't included. Visually, the game is typically Telltale fashion of cel-shaded, and it's really great. There's no wonder they chose this to go with all the franchises that they do, because it stands the test of time. Like Zelda's Wind Waker for GameCube. That still looks gorgeous now, and they've made a HD version. So you can't go wrong really, especially in these guys' hands. So I finished the first chapter, and it was a good length, about 2 hours, they usually are. It sets the series up nicely, and I'm assuming and hoping that they're starting off small, using someone like the Falcons as a starting point. Not to undermine them as a villain, but Gotham's full of gangsters and thugs, but the real meat and gravy is the eccentric villains like the Riddler, Mr. Freeze, Clayface, Poison Ivy, and obviously the Joker. There's no sign of them yet, just Penguin and Catwoman, but I assume they'll show up because you can't really have a Batman game without those characters. So it starts off really well. First we have a robbery involving some thugs. Once you've easily dispatched them, Catwoman's on the scene, a fight ensues, and you both leave with reminders that cats and bats don't get on. Later on, the Penguin shows up to threaten Bruce, and they've gone for more of the TV version. Apparently the world would rather have an oddly handsome, tall, skinny guy, rather than the smaller, deformed, Danny DeVito-esque version, which I actually prefer, to be honest. But I guess that wouldn't really work so much in the show, so Telltale follows suit. And speaking of Bruce, it's good that you get to spend half the time being him. In most versions, you're usually Batman, and Bruce takes a back seat. It's nice to mingle with the hierarchy and see what Bruce has to put up with and put him in the spotlight, because they are two sides of the same coin, and I welcome it. So the story in a nutshell is you're funding the campaign of Harvey Dent, aka Two-Face, to become mayor, but the unseen so far, Mayor Hill is seemingly behind the scenes, pulling the strings to take you and Dent down any means necessary. We have Falcons thrown into the mix, causing trouble, and a cameo of the Penguin talking about a revolution. You two were friends when you were young. His family went downhill, yours went uphill, and he's obviously holding a grudge, but he is coming across that he's like your friend. But he gives you a warning, which I don't understand really, because that's ultimately going to be thrown back in his face, because he just basically threatened Batman. A scandal involving the Waynes is thrown into the media, with them lapping it up like the dickheads they are, turning on Bruce and his family's legacy, despite the fact that without them Gotham would be nothing but a cesspool of crime and violence, more so than it already is. You obviously have your loyal butler Alfred alongside you, giving you advice as always. Vicky Vale is on hand if you choose to take her help, which I did because it seemed like the more logical choice to me, but we'll talk about that later. Which leads me on to the captivating crunchiness of any Telltale game, the choices. The first one is a nice little touch on which colour you'd like to use as your primary gadget colour. I went with purple because it's my favourite colour. And it suits the Batcave because who the hell would choose yellow? That's a shit colour for the Batcave. So the best part of any game of this fashion are the choices, the what-if scenarios that play out, and it even says in the intro, cater to your decisions. If you want a Batman that actually goes and kills people, you can actually do that in this, which I'm quite surprised. You don't usually get them Batman games, you have no choice. Towards the end of the episode, I actually got a choice to kill Falcone, which was a shock. Although I've got so much of a stoic Batman in me, I know that who he is couldn't bear to ruin his image in front of the media, as it would just go downhill. But it's good that they've given you that as a choice. And finally, the villains get what's coming to them, if you decide to. And more importantly, the Batman has a code of honour. So I personally wouldn't want to really go against that. And if I was Batman, I'd be smart enough to know that killing these people probably wouldn't be the right road to go down. We all know deep down, if you killed them, the world would be a better place, but then there'd be no Batman. So, it's kind of stuck in a vicious loop cycle. I don't want the citizens of Gotham to hate Batman, aka me, as the police already do, with them even taking shots at me despite the fact that I'm making their jobs easier. But then the police in Gotham aren't exactly known for their good intentions, because they're just a bunch of ungrateful pricks. So let's have a look. I'll quickly go through these. Basically, you and 36% of players shut Harvey out of the private meeting with Falcone. Well, So I decided to keep him out of the meeting. I don't want him being seen fraternising with the mob. It wouldn't go down well for our campaign. Likewise, I did not shake his hand. One, for the aforementioned reason, and two, Batman doesn't shake hands with scum. I don't think so. He's a dickhead, Falcone. Number 2, you and 90.2% of the players chose to control the emerging Wayne story and providing Vicky with a quote. I decided to defend myself and give a quick quote to Vicky because Bruce wouldn't let anyone badmouth his family, and neither would I. Too much respect for him. Number 3, you and 50.4% of players brutally broke the Doc Shooter's arms, ensuring that he'd never hold a gun straight again. Of course I broke the sniper's arms, because why would I not? This guy's a killer. And I've got Alfred going mad at me for saying, oh, you shouldn't have done it. Well, grow some frigging balls, Alfred. I'm not dressing up jumping across rooftops at night, giving assassins advice on life, you old knob. I love you really, Alfred, but come on. These guys are trained killers. I'm not going to let them run around shooting people. And you should have my side anyway. You're my butler, not theirs. Number 4, you and 30.4% of players gave the Falcone data to Vicky Vale instead of Gordon at the GCPD. I chose to give data to Vicky, as I said before, instead of Gordon, because he's surrounded by corrupt police, and it probably wouldn't get dealt with, it could probably get destroyed or lost. But with Vicky, she can just get it straight out there into the media. She's a well-known media paper person. So it would be up to the Gothamites to decide for themselves, and it would be crucial evidence against Falcone. So it just made the most sense. I am interested to see what would have happened if I'd give it to Gordon. It seems like the Vicky Vale one was a bit more straightforward, obvious that you would give it to her. I think most people would think what I thought, and she even confirms it herself when I handed it over. So I might play through it again and see what the alternate choices are. That's one of the best things about Telltale. They got replayability, and it's really, really interesting. Okay, you and 82.5% of players showed restraint and handed Falcone over to the police safe and sound. Now, despite the fact I really, really wanted to make a kebab out of Falcone's ass, that would make sense if you'd actually played it, so like I say, go and play it and then you'll find out what that actually means. I actually don't want to eat Falcone's ass. I decided to hand him over because at the end of the day, it gives Batman a bad name. He doesn't kill people, although he really should. Gotham would be a better place, but they would despise Batman. He wouldn't be looked at as a hero, and I don't think Batman cares whether or not people think he's a hero. He just wants them to know that he's not the bad guy, and if it weren't for him, Gotham, like Bruce Wayne, Gotham would just be awful. It already is awful, but even more awful. But at what cost anyway? Going around killing people willy nilly. My soul. You want me to just ruin my soul? I don't think so, and I won't do it to Batman either. It's not even mate me. I don't think so, sunshine. In summary, Batman shaping up to be another good chapter under the Telltales belt, and although there was a tiny bit of lag and at one point the sound was missing, which is usual coming from a Telltale game, Game of Thrones was fucking horrendous, especially the last episode where all the choices you'd made came together. That was just nearly unplayable. That pissed off a lot of people. There's nothing like that in this. It was just a little bit at the beginning. It might just have been mine, not everyone, so I can forgive that. So there was a little bit of sound missing for about 5 seconds towards the beginning, but it didn't detract from anything. It's still a good game. There's not much bad stuff I can say about it, really. I mean, it's retreading old water with the history of the Waynes and how his family died and how Harvey will inevitably become Two-Face. We played this so many times before, but we know how this turns out. But this is Telltale's chance to shake it up a bit. Will they do it? I personally, right now, don't think that they will, but I hope I'm wrong. So that's it. I still enjoyed it. I don't really have a rating system, but I guess if I did, I'd give it 3 milkshakes out of 5. It's not great yet, but it's by no means a bad game. It's got a lot of promising elements to it. I'm looking forward to the next one, and hopefully you'll be there with me and we can discuss it. So if you like this video, please like and subscribe. I feel like I'm getting better with these videos now, so you'll probably see higher quality as we go down the road together. So have a good day. See you later, boy.